I was at a local CVS drugstore here in Southern California recently, and I saw these girls' costumes. One was supposed to be a butterfly, the other one was supposed to be Little Red Riding Hood. Both of them had the exact same basic structure of the outfit, which was this lace-up bodice that resembled lingerie, and a tiny black skirt with black lace. And the butterfly costume just had a couple of butterfly wings and some feelers, and the Red Riding Hood costume was just a different color with a hood on it. But the basic message was the same. And this is what we've seen with women's costumes for years. But I was shocked to see that little girls are now wearing these costumes. I mean, is it just something I've noticed?
Little girls, yeah, very little girls. And as you said, it's starting. I mean, even toddlers, even younger than 7 and 8 year old girls are being really encouraged to wear these costumes, or their parents think it's cute or whatever, or sometimes it's hard to find anything that isn't like this in the stores. I mean, I have some in my collection, a slide of a costume. The costume for the boy is a pimp, and the costume for the girl, his little sister, is a child hoe, as they say in the ad, and it's for ages 4 to 6. So it each year, I think it can't get any worse. But then each year it actually seems to, and it seems to become more accepted somehow, as if we become desensitized to it.
Now let's talk about who is making these costumes. I mean, there's Walmart, of course, I mentioned CVS. These are big corporations because, there was a time when people would make their own costumes or parents would sew their own costumes, but now you just go to the store and you buy them. And the stores would respond saying that, well, we are just making costumes for our consumers, that this is based on consumer demand. How do you respond to that?
Well, that's what, no matter what outrageous thing marketers do, they always say we're just responding to what people want. But to a great extent, people aren't given a whole lot of choice. I mean, what you said earlier about people making costumes, I mean, one of the sad things about Halloween these days is that there's just no creativity in these costumes either. And making the costumes, I remember, it was fun, it was creative, it was a thing that, parents and children could do together. And I realize everyone's way too busy these days, but that seems like a real loss, that we're not, that's another issue of this, not just the sexualization, but the fact that everything is mass manufactured and already produced, and it's one more way in which children are discouraged from being creative and using their imagination.
How do you draw the links between these kinds of things, like girls wearing such costumes, and their own body image, the links to eating disorders, etc.? A lot of people might say, look, this is just the trend that's natural, and you're just being too prudish and conservative and Puritan. That there shouldn't be, that there is no proven link between sexualization of girls' outfits and body image.
Actually, there is a proven link between the sexualization of girls and harmful effects on girls. And you mentioned the APA report, the American Psychological Association report, which did a meta-analysis of all the research. And there's no question but that girls who are exposed to heavily sexualized images tend to... What happens, here's the thing that happens that's so dangerous. They tend to objectify themselves. They turn themselves into objects. They begin to think that what's most valuable about them is their appearance, and particularly how hot and sexy they are. And of course, they're getting this message from all over the place, from throughout the popular culture. But when you think of yourself as an object, that is even more dangerous than being turned into an object by other people. So there's no question but that this does lead to low self-esteem for some girls, to eating disorders, and to depression. So it's not harmless, it's not trivial. And I also really want to address what you said earlier about, are we prudish to complain about this, which is, I hear sometimes, which is ridiculous. I mean, sexualization has nothing to do with sexuality. It's not about, sexuality is wonderful, we have it from birth, it's to be celebrated. But sexualization is about turning people into objects, into things, and telling them that they're valued only for their sexuality. It's a totally different thing. So there's nothing prudish about this. It's really just people who are concerned about the mental health of our girls.